called How Top Amazon Supplement and Beauty Brands Use Smarter Manufacturing to Create Better Products, Increase Margins, and Grow Faster. If you're selling in this pet space, the beauty space, the supplement space, the health space, today is really going to stir you up. If you're not in the WhatsApp group yet, uh, like I keep talking about this because I'm always impressed by the quality of sellers, the quality of strategies that are shared, the problems, the tools, kind of the insights that are shared. When you join this group, there's another group that you'll have access to. It's called the $1 million plus group. If you're doing more than seven figures, you can apply for that group. I'm going to have you send me a screenshot of your sales to prove that you're above seven figures in revenue. If that's you, I want you in the group. We're going to do some special things only for bigger sellers because when you're a bigger seller, some of the smaller stuff doesn't really make sense. And when you're a smaller seller, you don't need to be doing the bigger seller strategies either. So I kind of want to just create a little bit of a different ecosystem there. So be in the main group, which is this one, and then also jump in the seven figure plus group if that's you. Okay, got three bonuses today before we jump in officially. If you guys haven't tried out listing optimization.ai, I see this as one of like the easiest wins. Check out some of these images that it's created. The easiest wins that you can do literally for free. Like you can try out this tool for free. Like I went there earlier today. If you just go to this website, you can just plug your ASIN in and it'll start doing research for you and it'll make an image for you for free. So you can just see how cool it is and how good of a job it does. But it can create almost anything related to your Amazon listing. The cool piece about this whole thing is it actually goes and reviews your competitors, it reviews your reviews, your competitors' reviews. It can create all of the creative for your entire listing, main images, lifestyle, A plus content. It tries to create images that specifically get higher click through for your main image and then higher conversion for all your other assets on your listings. And then like you don't have to guess like is this any better because inside the platform itself, like you can see here built-in A/B split testing, like it'll just split test all of the tests that you want to run. So like you can generate the new main image, split test it against your current one, and then you'll know like which one actually produces a higher click through. And then all of your other assets on your listings, you can just split test. Okay, which one produces a higher conversion, and you just know which one produces more revenue for you. So it's like a gigantic leverage item. Like it takes so little and it's so small in cost, but it can produce a big change in your business. I've seen like Kamal shared some of the results, and some people get 30%, 50%, 100% lifts in revenue simply by swapping their images, which is insane. Like it really is built for sellers specifically. This is an Amazon tool. Like you just plug your ASIN in, it does all the research, then it generates your images, and then you just it like with one click, it uploads everything directly to your Amazon listing. So, guys, if you haven't tried this out yet, try it out for free. When you decide that, hey, I need a paid account because I want to take this even farther. I see how big it could be. Then use this code. It's the only code out there that'll get you 20% off for life. We always try to get the best discounts for anything we talk about in Seller Growth Network. So it's Pro20. Screenshot that. If you use that code, Kamal, the CEO and founder himself, will meet with you personally and give you a free listing audit. So that's a pretty cool bonus. It's free. Take advantage of it while it's available. Theo says there's an echo. Guys, if I'm echoing, please let me know. I haven't heard anybody else say that though. Bonus number two. I talked about this last week a little bit, but a lot of you guys are new here today. iFulfill and Ship is one of four vetted and recommended service prep providers. Tim Neal over there I've been working with him a little bit, and it's amazing what they can do. They have East Coast, West Coast coverage. They can get your Amazon FBA orders prepped. They can do Walmart prep. They can do your Shopify D2C order fulfillment. They can do your TikTok fulfillment. They can do kitting and bundling if you ever want to try like a bundle. If you want things relabeled, like if you've used our creative cloning strategy, you can literally just have them like resticker some of your existing inventory and use that creative cloning strategy. So it works with a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here. They can do storage for you. They can do inventory management. They can process your returns. It's pretty much a one-stop shop. Like I said, they're one of four. There's only four vetted and recommended service providers that do prep. So that's pretty cool. So these guys are obviously top notch when Amazon gives them the stamp of approval. They can work with you when you're small, all the way through having a gigantic business. So whether you're doing 100 orders or $100,000 orders or 100,000 orders a month, they can handle that. Here's the deal. They're giving 10% off lifetime of any of your prep stuff. So if you need them to do any prep work, Amazon, Walmart, whatever, they're going to give you 10% off for life just by using that special link and letting them know that you're part of the Seller Growth Network. And then if you do any D2C stuff, if you do Shopify stuff, TikTok stuff, they're going to give you 50% off, which is awesome. Like that's a gigantic uh, discount. Just go to ifulfillandship.com/Seth, or you can scan that QR code. I'll drop this link into the chat box here in a bit. But if you need any help on the shipping front, these guys are great. Bonus three, this is a new one. This one's pretty awesome. This is an MCP connection. I don't know how many of you guys, just let me know in the chat box. Have you ever heard of Quick Metrics? I had not heard of them. I had not seen them, not seen their tool. But after I saw Leroy says, no, haven't heard of them. Yeah, me either. But I got a demo and I was like, holy smokes, this is awesome. So as soon as I got a demo, I was like, I really want to work with these guys. I got to show you guys in the Seller Growth Network, like what they can do. And it's so cheap. It's amazing. So you guys are familiar with MCP, I hope, which means like connecting your real Amazon data, and in this case, your real Amazon and Walmart data to like an AI tool. So an MCP allows you to take your real Amazon data, connect it to ChatGPT, connect it to Claude, connect it to Perplexity, whatever it is, and that's what Quick Metrics and MCP does. They are the bridge between real data and an AI, which, we've had some MCP connect or some MCP sessions before, but this is like if you just want to do it yourself and you want to try it out, if you haven't used AI connected to your account yet, this is really cool and it's a great way to test this. Check this out. So at Quick Metrics, they can do all these things. So they pull in all your data. They pull in your sales data, your PPC data, P&Ls, SQPs, returns, reviews. They pull in all the data from your account, which a lot of MCPs don't. They can connect multiple seller accounts to the same MCP. They can, it can work with any AI tool. So it's not like Claude MCP. It's like MCP hooks up to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, whatever you like, it'll hook up to it. And then you can have multiple users. So say if you have an employee and you want to give him or her permissions, like you can do that. That's a pretty awesome. And it works for Amazon and Walmart. But check this out. It'll bring in the data on in every area of the business. So it'll allow you to have dashboards about your performance. It'll allow you to manage your PPC. It'll allow you to have AI calculate profit and loss and get like hourly intelligence. How about analyze your inventory? How about analyze your reviews and your products and your categories and your geographic sales? Like it's pulling in all this data, which is awesome, right? Uh, and here's the part when they got to the pricing, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is better than I thought. Normally they'll do a 14-day free trial, but the pricing is already super cheap. It's like if you want to pay monthly, it's 19 bucks um, to start, and they'll do listing management tools and your ad data and all that. If you pay 90 bucks a month, you get listing management tools, ad data, inventory management tools, profitability, monthly review, and all that stuff for 90 bucks. But you get 30 days free in Seller Growth Network. It's not the 14-day usual free trial. And if you use this special link, sellergrowthnetwork.com/quick, you get 25% off of your first paid month. So you're not paying anything for 30 days. And then after that, you get 25% off. Pretty awesome. Guys, if you haven't used AI to look at your data inside of your Amazon account, like I highly recommend trying it out. It'll give you perspectives that you didn't know that you should have. It'll analyze your business in ways that you've never thought of. It'll give you an advantage that you can't really get any other way. And it's so cheap to try. It's free for the first 30 days. You can just literally see like what would AI do if it had all of the data from my account. Try it out. There's hardly any risk here. So sellergrowthnetwork.com/quick. Try that out. Okay, guys, now let's just jump straight into today's session: how top Amazon supplement and beauty brands use smarter manufacturing to create better products, increase margins, and grow faster. Guys, I'm going to bring on a couple special guests, but our main presenter here is going to be Adam Ackerman. He's been a friend of mine for a long, long time. He's actually sold more than $100 million of his own products on Amazon. That's supplements, that's beauty products, that's everything we're going to be talking about today. And then now he's one of the co-founders of Turnkey Health and Beauty, which is a manufacturer for supplement products, pet supplement products, health products, beauty products. If you are interested in anything in these categories at all, you're going to be blown away because Adam's going to blow your mind with strategy to grow your business. And then at the end, he's going to show you, hey, I can just literally create custom formulations on any product that you would want through my own manufacturing company. So without further ado here, Adam, come back on with me. I'm so excited to have you, man. Welcome to today's session, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you so much. Second time with you on this. This is great.
Yeah, man, you got a lot of people here with us today already. More coming in. But Adam, I know we have James here with us too, and I know you mentioned maybe letting him say hello before we officially jump in. Guys, this is going to be amazing. James, I got you mic'd up over here if you want to say hello.
Hello. Thanks for having us today. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. So James and Adam are partners on this, and you guys have been doing amazing work helping e-commerce brands, specifically Amazon brands, build some of the and create and manufacture some of the best health products, pet supplement products, beauty products on the market. And I just want to thank you, James, for coming on here and sharing everything with us. And then Adam, I know you got a lot of stuff to cover, so I'm going to let you get into it as soon as you're ready.
Yep. How's that? Can you see my screen now?
I can. I got you.
Okay. Amazing. Yeah. So today we're going to cover a lot of ground. I think the main thing we really want to focus in on is how are advanced Amazon sellers scaling supplement brands, pet and beauty in a really crowded space. Where is the advantages? Where's the opportunities? And ultimately, what's the best way of doing it? So we're really excited to be here. Second time we've been able to present. First one was fantastic. We're going to provide a lot of value. And at the end, hopefully, we'll be able to help you guys create some additional products or improve some of the products you've already got. So what we're going to learn today is really what we kind of talked about a little bit before, and that is why I think building a consumer brand today is harder than it's ever been. But on the flip side, it's also easier than it's ever been. But we're going to talk a bit more about what I mean. The 7 product development mistakes most brand owners make. The $1 million decision. That's actually a very interesting story. We're going to share that with you. Why the traditional manufacturing model is broken, and ultimately the turnkey product launch system. So by the end of the presentation, you know how to avoid costly product development mistakes, choose the right manufacturing partner, and launch products with confidence. A little bit about me. I appreciate the introduction, Seth. Like he said, been very fortunate since 2013. I've had a lot of success on Amazon, off Amazon, selling my own branded products. Done over $100 million. Been doing this for quite a while. James, actually, my business partner, was the very first manufacturer I had bought a supplement from back in 2013. So we've been together a long time, doing a lot of business. And then we've launched hundreds of products, not only for our own individual brands, but for customers that have been wildly successful. And I would say, one mission is our mission is to help brands launch smarter and grow faster. So I know, Seth, you and I are going to have to do a little bit different style today, where we talk more campfire, where we're going to have a discussion, we're going to tell stories, we're going to explain all these things. But I asked Seth to provide some additional insight here, because I feel like unlike some of the other kind of hosts that he's had on, we are in a unique position because we're actually the foundation. We come before a lot of the other exciting stuff. So, Seth, I know you wanted to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, guys, a lot of you come to the sessions that are seemingly exciting. They're the marketing strategy. It's the AI thing. It's the how do we get ranked thing. It's the launch, right? It's all the sexy stuff that seems fun and exciting because you have a product already. Um, and that's natural, like to want to take what you have and grow it even farther. But what I've seen so many times is that the biggest brands, the most successful cases on Amazon, are always the people that nail the product. And I was talking to Adam for weeks now leading up to this, and it's like the product is the entire foundation. So today we're going to be talking about and today we're going to be talking about the entire foundation of your business, which is your product. Does your product actually solve a problem? Is it marketed in that way? Is it positioned in that way? Everything down to the packaging. Is the product actually providing a benefit that the customers see so vividly that they come back and reorder and tell their friends? And so we're going to really dial in on what makes the most successful product that then you can layer on all of the marketing strategies. And then that's when growth explodes. And that's why Adam's done more than $100 million personally of sales on Amazon, is because he nails product first and then layers on good marketing on top of it. So, yes, this isn't going to be all about marketing, but it is going to be about something that's kind of foundational, kind of below marketing, that you have to get right. Otherwise, it's almost like pushing a boulder up a hill. It's like if you try to sell a product that's just mediocre or just another Me Too product, it's so hard. And I know a lot of you guys, like, let me know in the chat box if you feel like Amazon is hard. Because if it is, you're probably just getting this piece wrong. And today is going to open your eyes. Go ahead, Adam.
I love that. And that's right. So great marketing can't fix an average product. You can fake it for a while, but ultimately, you're not building a business. You're just selling, a product. So we want to make sure we change that. And going back to building a brand and why I think it's harder than ever is because there's so much noise, right? You've got to work with your influencers, and you got to work with your TikTok shops and your Amazons and Shopify. And you got to, learn how to do all the ads and the packaging and the compliance and the product development, all these things that are going on behind the scenes. Before, when I started in 2013, I just had to focus on Amazon, and I didn't even have to have that great of a product at the time because it was, pretty easy to rank, and I was just selling private label stuff. But now the game has significantly changed, and consumers are, their radar is up. And yes, they get excited about fancy packaging, but behind the scenes, you as the brand owner, you've got all these things you have to be doing, and you have to nail all of them correctly now, versus in the past you could kind of get away with a few more things. So I really want to dive into what the product flywheel looks like. And if you do it right, this is what should be happening in your business, right? So if you come up with a great product that solves a real world problem and delivers real results, you're going to have great customer experiences, right? It's going to be, your product's going to be easy to buy, and the customers are going to love it, and they're going to put it into their daily routine, which then of course is going to start to spiral into 5-star reviews, customer trust, credibility grows, more influencers want to get involved, plus people start telling their friends about it. Then you get into your repeat purchases. This is ultimately what this entire business is about, right? How do you create monthly subscription or bi-monthly subscription for your products? Because that's what we all love about the consumer business. We know that once a consumer uses it, if we've done our job right, they're going to continue to order and order and order. And our job is to make sure we're putting more people into the funnel that are buying on a repeat basis. Higher rankings. As we know, as products convert better with better reviews, rankings and visibility is going to increase. Your lower cost of acquisition is going to get better. Higher margins, you're going to start to increase prices because demand and credibility is there. And of course, more cash flow, right? You're putting more money in your pocket.
Hey,
so the
Adam,
brands that grow yes.
I was just gonna like tell a real life story from my business that I've seen this happen. Like I was on the short end of the stick on this one. So years ago, we had this product that was about a $3 million a year business, and it was great until I looked at my nearest competitor, and the competitor was doing about $50 million a year. The only difference was that his product was a little bit better. And literally, like if I would have just started with the product and made the product awesome, I would have had a 20 to $50 million business, no doubt in my mind. They ended up with about a half of a star more than me in review ratings. But what happened next was they got to charge 50% more money. So every sale that they made a ton more net profit, and then they could reinvest into a lot more things. So I ended up selling my $3 million business They ended up with a $50 million cash cow simply because they nailed step one here, which is get a great product. So I've seen this play out so many times. I know you have a bunch of examples, but I just wanted to add that in. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I'm kind of curious, the people who are joining us today, how many of them have their own consumer brand businesses? I mean, is this something that they've experienced in the past where, they didn't spend as much time on the product as they should, and then end up costing them, in the long run? So the 7 product development mistakes that really kill growth, and I've kind of laid these out, is number one, selling a commodity-based product, right? And there's no real differentiation, means you're in a price war and you've got very low margins. That's okay to start, but we're going to show you today how, for as little as 2,500 units, you could create a custom product and really set yourself apart. Wrong manufacturing partner, and this is the one that got me, and I'm going to tell you a story about that in a little bit. But the wrong partner actually leads to quality issues, delays, and a tremendous amount of headaches. Poor margin planning, weak packaging, launching with the wrong formula, supply chain bottlenecks, and then thinking short term, right? So short term decisions limit scale, equity value, and long term success. So every one of these mistakes is preventable. It's just really understanding what to look for and how to avoid them. So let's dig into number one. So the very first thing we always talk about, and in my mind, and this is where it all starts, is building a commodity-based product, right? So you can absolutely, if you're in the supplement space, get into a product that is a private label, or let's say you go onto Amazon and you're looking at products, you're like, okay, I can sell this one, maybe I can make it a little bit better. But really, what we really highly recommend is set yourself apart and give yourself a major advantage, and that's increasing price, right? So coming up with a unique formulation and positioning, so it solves a specific problem. You're going to hear me talk about this quite a bit today. What problem are you solving? Most of the products that are on the commodity trap, they're just single ingredients or a multi-ingredient product, but they're not solving any singular problem for a consumer, right? And then so premium brand experience, that's the packaging, that's the messaging, that's what creates the trust. And then you get the high customer loyalty, which means you're going to get consumers coming back over and over again, and you're going to have much stronger margins. So it's easier to grow a product that isn't commodity based. I'm going to give you a couple examples of those in a few minutes, versus something that's just off the counter and ready to go. But most brand owners don't realize that you can create custom products and really create something that's amazing, and it doesn't require much more work. But traditional manufacturing doesn't really allow you to do that, which takes us to point number 2. So normally the process is, right, if you have a product idea or multiple product ideas, most manufacturers, they'll pretend or they'll kind of fake it, where one size fits all approach. But manufacturers really aren't great at everything. You really want to focus on working with a manufacturer that specializes in one particular thing. Otherwise, I've seen this many, many times myself, where they overpromise and way underdeliver, or they outsource your manufacturing to somebody else and you don't even know it. So one size fits all approach doesn't always work. Whereas the specialist approach is having the right partner for every product category, right? Because capsules, soft gels, liquids, beauty and skincare, pet products, and powders, they all require much different manufacturing capabilities and equipment and certifications. So you have to really make sure you're doing your due diligence and working with the right partner. So capsules specializes in capsules, better quality and consistency. Soft gels, we talked about that, and liquids and powders. So the takeaway really here is your manufacturer impacts everything, right? The right partner improves quality, speed, and margin, setting your brand up for long-term success.
So, Adam, one of the things, like, just pause right here, is I had somebody message me and say, like, "Hey, I am actually somewhere in Europe. I don't like. What do you mean when you say consumable? Consumable is anything that Adam has listed here. Anything that you're consuming, where it runs out, it's eaten, it's digested, it is used up, and you have to buy it again. So you're consuming the thing, and then you buy it again. So, like, as an example, capsules, soft gels, liquids, beauty and skincare, pet products, powders, all these things are used, and then you buy it again. And that's what creates, like, the strong economics, which is the customer buys it to use it. They actually use it, they get a great result, and then they come back and buy it again. with no ads having to be purchased to get them on that reorder, because they just go to their orders and they buy again, or they subscribe and save, right? So it's like this creates this engine of profit. And that's why it's so powerful. Guys, in the chat box, just let me know, like, what category are you in? I see Britt is selling a supplement for weight loss at $74. That sounds pretty awesome. But what category are you guys in? Are you in any of these categories that we're talking about today? I'd love to know. Keep going, Adam. This is great.
Yeah, and so to your point, why do we love the supplement and consumable space, which is, you know, skincare, anything you put on your body as well, is because once you acquire that customer, if the product is doing what it's supposed to do, they're going to get on reorders, right? And so that's really where the lifetime value of the product comes in, and that's how you are able to sell for multiples down the road when you go to exit your business, because you've built an engine of predictability, and that's what buyers really love. Something that's also proprietary. So poor margin planning, I see this more than I see anything else above the formulation, is there's not enough margin built into the product. If you're going to create a product that stands out and is different, you're going to want to charge a premium. The product's going to cost a bit more, but you're also going to you'll be able to demand more money for the product. So a lot of times I see a brand, okay, I want to sell it for, you know, $19.99 or $29.99. By the time you pay all your fees, you get your Amazon fees, your refunds and returns, your freight and shipping, which is probably a little low. You got your manufacturing of the product, your packaging, ingredients, all those components, feed into what the product costs. What we really want to do with our customers is sit down and say, okay, we start with the end in mind. Who's the target audience? What do we want to sell this thing for? What are the margins we want to create? Because that actually determines what ingredients go into the product and how robust you can build the product out to be. So design for profit, scale with confidence, right? So target margin, target your margin first, define your ideal profit, know your numbers, price for value, and optimize as you scale. So you can always start a little bit lower, right, on the profit margin, because you want to create momentum in the marketplace, but you ultimately know where you want to get to once you get your reviews and everything built up. And I know you said, so someone selling a weight loss supplement for $74, $75, that's great. I love to see those kind of margins, because that allows you also, to your point, to be able to market more. Whoever can spend more to acquire the customer ultimately will end up winning in the end, because you've got more margin to work with. So the result is higher profitability, more cash flow, better reinvestment, stronger brand positioning, and sustainable growth. And it's harder for others to come in and knock you off too, once you've established that kind of credibility. Any questions, Seth? Does anybody have?
A couple of them coming in. Like Cedric says he's selling men's skincare. Max says he's selling a supplement, I'm assuming for blood pressure. Some really good categories of consumable sellers here, Adam. The thing that I thought was interesting is you kind of work backwards. A lot of people work forwards. You're saying, what do I want to make on this product? And so then where do I start? Like, okay, so what ingredients do I need to have to produce a result that's that valuable that I can charge $60 or $75, right? So somebody that can lose weight and feel totally better about themselves and is actually healthier, Brita can charge $75 for a supplement, because if it works, they're going to get the result and they're going to be happy and they're going to buy it again. But if you're selling, biotin in a bottle or vitamin C or whatever, and it's just generic, you're kind of in this commodity trap that you said, and it doesn't allow you to expand your margin. So I like what you're saying here. Figure out where you want your profit to be first, and then work backward into what result I'm going to create with the blend of ingredients that I need. Great insight, Adam.
Yeah, and I think this, if there's a few key takeaways, this would be one of them. If you're trying to compete with like the Now Foods of the world, right, that are doing 150 million units a year, and they're selling 30 million vitamin Ds or like a biotin, they're so dialed in with their pricing and their margins. They already know they're not trying to be the premium, that they already know that they're doing volume. So as newer brands or even an established brand trying to create exit and sales velocity and volume in your business, you really need to be premium and priced higher than those products. And what I'm trying to explain to you is that there's a fine line between telling a great story. So your product and the ingredient stack, which we're going to get into in a few minutes, it tells a story, which the customers, they eat that up, right? They love the story. They understand the benefit of the product's doing for them. And then when you couple that with the product actually performing and doing what it says, you build that trust and you're able to charge that premium. And that's ultimately what allows you to scale the fastest. And having the right manufacturing partner that understands the landscape, the marketplace, the hottest ingredients, the trends, using AI to build out formulations that no one else is thinking about. Those are the advantages that you want to make sure you have as you're building and scaling your brand. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, this is great. Let's keep rolling, Adam. I can't wait
Okay.
to see the next one.
All right. So mistake number 4, basic marketing and packaging. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling a traditional white bottle. We sell, these all day long, and there's a lot of successful brands doing it. But I think, what goes back to telling the story. So if you want to be an average brand, generic and forgettable, I see this all the time, and James and I do, is you have these brands that they just want to do a private label, and they come to you with no real thought, no storytelling behind the brand, no premium positioning. And so if you look at kind of the example on the left, you get your basic bottle. It's just like an NAD supplement, sports energy. It's just pretty generic. Versus the brand on the right, this is a brand we just help another seller create. They're in the much more premium, distinctive, trustworthy positioning, and a customer is willing to pay more for that. So you can see they've got the black bottle, the blue, or the black top, the blue bottle, the nice clean labeling. They've got some really unique trademarks on here. The branding's nice, big and bold. It's clear and easy to understand. So this is really what really stands out on the shelf when you're a consumer looking at 2 different products to buy. So that's another big mistake that we see a lot of brand owners make. And getting boxes and packaging, it doesn't cost a whole lot more, but it also adds a lot more of prestige and perceived value to the product. So it helps with click-through rates, conversion, perceived value, customer trust, and then, of course, repeat purchases. So this goes back to what I was just talking about 2 slides ago, and I want to spend a little bit of time on this because as you're building a product, these are really the 5 things that we want to focus on. So number 1, we talked about this earlier, and we're just going to use this NAD product as the basis. What is the desired outcome, right? So in this scenario, improved cellular energy, brain function. That's the outcome we want the consumer to feel and to walk away with. So once we define that, then we start to look at what ingredients can ultimately give us some unique advantages. Now, we use AI a lot to a certain degree to create product formulations. And then we go back and we look at what historically is working, what other products are out there, what do we know is a nice combination of stacking. So we always want to start with a hero ingredient. And this is what I recommend to everybody on the webinar. As you're building a product, start with one hero ingredient. That's what you're building the story around. And then you're going to stack on other ingredients to be complementing. So in this scenario, we have NAD+. Now, LipoPure is actually not, it's not necessarily a name that's in the marketplace. It's a trademark name that we came up with for the brand owner. So LipoPure NAD+, it's a type of NAD that is liposomal, which means it's more easily absorbed by the body. Not to get it too technical, but traditional NAD has to be converted once you take it, so the body can use it. Liposomal NAD is already converted, so the body actually is getting more of the nutrients. But as the average brand owner doesn't understand the science between the two, and when you're working with traditional manufacturers, they're just mainly order takers. So they're not going to be able to sit down and say, hey, listen, I think this is a great idea, okay, but I think this is the ingredient you should use, because not only is it going to be more bioavailable to the consumer, they're going to feel it better, but you can also create differentiation. Now you're telling a different story compared to 99% of all the other brand owners out there. And then when you can stack on top of that, the LipoPure trademark, when you come up with something unique that gives it elevated perceived value, now you're setting yourself in a completely different realm, and you're able to charge that $60 per unit. And you want to design for the brand experience. So building a premium brand experience that creates trust and justifies the premium pricing that we talked about. And then, of course, you want it to work. So when you put the resveratrol and the quercetin with the NAD, the science validates that those three products, those three ingredients together create an unbelievable product. And now you look at, then you go back to Amazon and you say, okay, what's everyone else doing? And then you just increase your formulation just slightly above the rest. You've got a home run. And so hopefully that makes sense. Is this making sense to everybody?
I think so. But Brendan had a good question. He says, do you just take an existing ingredient like liposomal NAD and create a trademark name to call it something else?
That's exactly what we did. Yeah,
So,
because the ingredient manufacturer that we get it from, they already kind of have their own clinical studies and trademarks. And a lot of times you can work with them, not always, but sometimes you can work with them to have your own trademark and then use some of their science. Or a lot of brands will just use that branded ingredient, which is perfectly acceptable as well.
yeah. So Brendan says that's brilliant. Britta says, yes, it makes so much sense. Max is with you. Leroy's loving it. So I think you're hitting a nerve here, Adam, because they're seeing how a lot of generic commodity products make a huge mistake, and they don't take that extra little step and say, who are we serving? What benefit are we trying to produce? And what ingredients would get us there? And then calling it something cool, like with your LipoPure trademark, like brilliant. Keep going, Adam. This is awesome.
Yeah, this really is the secret to success, guys. If you can nail these 5 steps, you're going to be light years ahead of the competition. So mistake number 6 is building for launch instead of building for scale. We see this all the time too. We can attest, I know James can attest and Kennedy can too. We get calls all the time like, hey, I just want to start with 1,000 units or 500 units. Now, everyone's at a different place. I understand budgets and all these things, they come into play. But if you really are going to build a beautiful and strong, healthy business, you got to be thinking about the end in mind, just like we talked about with the product and the margins. So don't just launch a product just to be in the marketplace. Yes, it's sometimes good to test product, but if you've done the due diligence up front, like we did with this NAD product, we know, right? We've already done all the homework. There's no guarantees with anything, of course, but we are very optimistic that product will work. So for 2,500 units, that's really where you want to start, because you're going to have to see, maybe use 200 or 300 products as giveaways to get momentum. You're going to discount some products in the beginning to start selling. And then as sales velocity increases, if you're starting with 500 units or 1,000 units, you're going to burn through those units so quickly that you're probably going to be behind the 8 ball. And as it's now time to reorder, and it takes that 4 to 6 weeks to get your product back in, there's a high probability with sales velocity that you're going to run out. And if you run out of product, that's death to your business, because you obviously, common sense, you just spent all this time developing it and now you're out of product. That's not good. So work with manufacturers that understand, starting with 2,500 units, that's the kind of the sweet spot. But can they grow with you, right? As demand grows and reorders come in, you're going to hit 10,000 units. Then you're going to hit the 50,000 units. And then before you know it, you're going to be ready to expand into retail channels. Can that manufacturer grow with you? Is there contingency plans in place? Where are the manufacturers located across the country to make sure that shipping and fulfillment is efficient? These are all things that brand owners don't often think about. And I know we're talking about Amazon specifically, but if you're doing this right, we've had dozens of brands start with us on Amazon and then quickly get onto TikTok, get into retail, and they've been growing exponentially. So before you launch, ask yourself, can your manufacturer grow with me? Can they maintain quality as volume increases? Can they support new and multiple SKUs? A great example of that is, let's say you're launching a capsule. Well, we've got a lot of customers that want gummies, or they want powders or stick packs, or they want to do a soft gel. Okay, well, instead of having to go outside of and try and find all new manufacturers, wouldn't it be nice to have one partner that could fulfill all these things? We're going to talk about that in a minute too. And then number 7, choosing a manufacturer based on price That is a huge mistake we see all the time. You can find a manufacturer out there that will produce your product for $4.25, and that's fine. But there are a lot of hidden little gotchas that you won't see until you're already down the runway and beginning to take off. And at that point, it's too late to self-correct. Poor quality is a big one. There's no shortcuts, right? There's no way to cheapen on great products. So yes, there is an additional cost to it, but if you go with something as just you think it's the lowest price, most likely it's going to be cut on ingredient quality, and that's not what you want. Failed batches. So if you do certificate of analysis, we've seen this a lot with customers who have gone with other manufacturers and they come back where the product didn't spec out, it didn't test out as to what they thought they were getting. There's always production delays because they're just doing so much volume. And if you're a smaller customer, you're not going to get the attention and quality that you would want to be getting or that you feel like you deserve, because there's other products that are doing hundreds of thousands of units. But yeah, they're going to give you a good price to get you in, but you're not going to get the customer service in most cases. Inventory shortages, communication issues, that's a huge one we see. Expedited shipping, chargebacks, and returns versus working with the right manufacturing partner, right? So it's a slightly higher investment, but you're going to get concierge quality service, great quality products, great consistency, fewer headaches, faster growth, better margins over time, and a partner who's invested in your success.
Hey, hey, Adam, this is the mistake that I was telling you about earlier that I made. So
Yeah.
I'm sourcing this product and I'm paying like $2.95 for it. And I feel like it, oh man, I'm such a genius. I'm selling it for 29 bucks. That's a 10x markup. I'm such a genius, Adam. But then like,
Yep.
every now and then I get a 1-star review and I'm like, what the heck? Like the quality wasn't there. My competitor I know was spending about $10 a product. He was selling it for $60. I guess,
Oh, wow.
100%. He was selling it for $60. He's paying 3 times more than me, but he's got a $50 margin. And his reviews roll in and they're perfect. Uh, and then, he's got a $50 million business and I was stuck at 3 million bucks. And that's the difference. You feel like you're making like all these great smart business decisions by saving a little bit of cost. But when it's the foundation of your entire business, you got to nail it. And I think that's your point right here.
It is. And why are we doing all this? If we're going to spend, because the game has changed so much, ranking on Amazon has gotten expensive for each product. So if you're going to spend all that time and energy to get the product ranked, and those 2 or 3 star reviews start rolling in, and you're always going to get a couple of knuckleheads, right? But for the most part, if those 2 or 3 star reviews start rolling in consistently, you're done. Like you're just done. And so we want to ensure that from the very, very beginning, you're giving yourself the best chance of succeeding, because we know once those orders start rolling in, you're going to get those 4 or 5 star reviews. That's where the money is made. The money is made right now, so that when you go to market, the predictability lever is already at a very high premium. So next slide, the $1 million mistake. Going back to what you were just talking about, Seth, in 2022, I was working with a manufacturer, and I had been using them for probably about 6 or 7 months. August of 2021 was hitting, and I had one particular product that was probably doing close to $60,000-$70,000 a month on Amazon, and I had my inventory was due from my manufacturer, and this was going into the winter, or basically the Christmas season. So long story short, right around December 15th, I wanted all my inventory for January 1st, because that's when supplements, beauty products, they explode for New Year's resolutions. I got a call from my manufacturer and said, hey, listen, we don't have your product, and it's not going to be ready for another probably 30 to 60 days. And I was like, what the F are you talking about? 30 to 60 days? He's like, yeah, we got rushed with a bunch of orders. We can't get this thing done for you. And I'm sorry, like there's not much I can do for that. You're out of luck. So I didn't have any contingency plans in place. And so I ran out of stock going into January, and I didn't have stock for another 60 days of units. My rankings, my product absolutely tanked. And that literally cost me $1 million, because all of 2022, I was not able to get that product back up and ranking. And eventually I was able to, but picking the wrong manufacturing partner, I didn't do my due diligence. I had never worked with them before. The pricing was about 15 cents cheaper compared to where I was at. And that was just a stupid business mistake. I thought on paper it looked really, really good and made a ton of sense, but look what it ended up costing me. And so that's ultimately why, I made Turnkey Health and Beauty with my partner James. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But we really thought that the traditional manufacturing process is broken. And I don't know. I'd love to see a raise of hands or just get a hell yeah on this, because I think most people on this webinar who are in this industry can attest to this, right? So let's say you have an idea. You go online, you go to Google, you go to chat, wherever you're going to go, you're like, hey, I need some manufacturers to make this product. Okay, you get a list of 6 or 7 of them, right? Manufacturer 1, no response, never calls you back. Manufacturer 2 has a crazy, insane minimum order quantity of, let's say, 50,000. So they're out. Manufacturer 3, yeah, we'll help you out, but they take 4 to 5 weeks, 6 weeks to even get you a quote back. And then manufacturer 4 says, we don't even make that. And then manufacturer 5, lowest price, but not the best quality. Finally, it takes you up to 6 months or longer to launch a product, and mainly because you couldn't find anybody who was competent enough to work with you. And if they do, are they offering formulation suggestions? Are they seeing where the marketplace is going? Are they a strategic partner in that way? And for me, the answer was always no, 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 no. And so after I had this $1 million loss experience, I just said there has to be a better way with technology, because it just felt like all these manufacturers, and they're great. I'm not trying to, put anybody down, but they're not great at being strategic partners. They're great at making products. And to me, that was a huge disconnect in the marketplace. So I thought to myself, there has to be a better way. I sat down with James, I pulled him out of retirement, and ultimately that's when we decided to launch the product launch system under the Turnkey Health and Beauty business model. And what it entails, and what I think is, successful products aren't built by luck, right? They're built through a proven process. And what we've shown you so far today is there actually is a real scientific way of developing amazing products that will sell millions of dollars worth of volume. And so the Turnkey product launch system kind of looks like this, and it's different. So traditional manufacturers focus on making products. We built a technology-powered system for launching successful brands. That's a huge difference. So very first thing we do when we sit down and talk with you is like, okay, either looking at your existing products or you want to come up with a new one, market positioning, right? We want to focus on outcome first formulations and premium branded strategy. Create that premium product that we know that's going to work. Then we couple that with technology. So we've built an AI assisted workflow, which we call, it's our proprietary system we call Smart Quote platform. Okay. It's an intelligent manufacturing matching system. So we do have our own manufacturing facility. We specialize in capsules and powders and tablets, but there are a lot of other products such as gummies and liquids and pet care products and beauty products that we don't have the capability to serve in our facility. But over the past 20 years, James has developed all these products in all these categories and has had facilities to do that. So instead of our customers trying to go outside of our network to try and figure all this stuff out, we just said we're going to create a proprietary technology that will figure out all the upfront stuff. So we work on strategy first with you. Then we put your formulation into our engine. Our RFQ goes out to, let's say, 30 different manufacturers in our nationwide network. And those manufacturers bid on your formulation. And so what would normally take, which we all know, 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks to get quotes back, typically within 2 weeks or less, we've got multiple manufacturers bidding on your project. So we've got quotes, and we sit down and analyze those with you, looking at timelines, pricing, minimum order quantities, packaging capabilities, all those things within the nationwide network. And then we work with our dedicated team. Once we identify the specific manufacturer you want to work with, you're still working with our team. So that doesn't change, but you're also getting the infrastructure of all these other manufacturers, which, by the way, we are already doing millions of dollars of business with them. So unlike you just walking in off the street trying to get kind of white glove concierge service, it's not going to happen. Whereas we've already got the team, we've already doing millions of dollars with these manufacturers. We've got a lot of clout. We pick, if something's going on, which some things typically always do, right? We got to manage that. We've got the cell phone numbers to the owners of these manufacturing facilities. So in addition to our own facilities, we can service and help all of our customers launch any product that you want across any vertical and still make sure that we're following that same 5-step protocol to creating exceptional award-winning products. Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes sense. You're blowing up the chat box, Adam, because Britta says, "Wow, like his system for manufacturing bidding is incredible." Melinda says, "I've been doing this for 30 years, and he is correct." Juan had a question. He said, "Is this USA based manufacturing?"
It is. It is US based manufacturing. Yes, that's
Lewis says,
correct.
"Very interesting." Yes, exactly. So what Adam has here is something that um, you can't really find. And I think that's why you guys work so hard to build it, which is take Adam, a $100 million plus seller in his own right, plug him into this manufacturing setup where you get to work on outcome based marketing first, market positioning first, like success first, and then say, okay, we know where we're headed, but how do we actually manufacture that? And then set all the manufacturers in a bidding war against each other. And oh, yeah, by the way, we're only going to work with the manufacturers that we know provide top quality, top service, top everything. This is just amazing, Adam. And it's not something that you can just go and replicate because I've done what you said earlier. I have tried to get like creams and gel capsules and supplements manufactured in the past, and I just literally gave up and went and launched something from China because I couldn't get it manufactured, and it's so frustrating.
It's
Thank you
hard.
for solving this. Keep going. This is awesome.
Yes, yes, yes. It's hard. So, I know, Seth, we always try and offer something special for the group. You asked me what we could do this time around, a little different than last time, and so I kind of just thought to myself, wouldn't it be pretty cool if you could plug me and my team into your business for 30 minutes and really have like what I would consider to be a high growth strategy session, right? Focused, high impact. Let's identify opportunities to, not only strengthen your brand, maybe streamline your manufacturing strategies, accelerate product launches, maybe improve formulations that you currently have, or finally get that idea that's been in your head for the longest time. Let's make it a reality. I mean, we specialize in problem solving and in making products a reality. So what we'll do in that 30-minute time frame is we'll review your current product formulations, identify opportunities, see if we can create better margins, maybe some better efficiencies, look at your manufacturing strategies, help you reduce costs, potentially improve communication. And the main thing is like shorten lead times. Most manufacturers operate at I'd say between a 2 and 3 month window. Most of our manufacturers can get product out the door within 4 to 6 weeks, so about half the time it typically takes most manufacturers. We'll also review your branding and positioning. We can look at our smart quote platform. So if you got a couple of products you want to get quotes on, we can definitely work on that for you if it's outside of our scope of expertise. And then we just can determine if Turnkey is a good strategic partner for you. I think going back to the couple of the comments I heard, the number one thing, and there's a lot that we covered. Number one is just communication, right? I've always found it very difficult to communicate with my manufacturer, and they've always been reactive versus proactive. And we really try hard at Turnkey to make sure that when the shit hits the fan, excuse me, right? When the stuff hits the fan, we're communicating quickly and efficiently. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen being in this business. And so when that happens, do you have a partner that's like telling you what's going on in real time and that's going to bat for you and making sure that it gets solved, whatever that is required, that's getting done from the back end instead of hiding behind like what happened to me. I couldn't get anybody to call me back for weeks, and it was just super frustrating. But they had me handcuffed because I couldn't go anywhere else. I didn't know what to do. So we've really solved that problem, and excited to be able to share that with you. So if we believe we can add value to your business and your brand, we'd love to obviously quote you on that. We've got 12 brand strategy sessions available. And so what we want to work with brands that we can add the most value to. And if you are in this list of criteria, then I think it's a perfect opportunity for us to talk. So if you own a supplement, beauty, or pet brand, if you're an established brand, generating at least 50,000 per month, or you're ready to launch with MOQ starting at 2,500 units, we'd be a good fit. If you want a strategic product development partner, not just an order taker or another manufacturer, we would be a good fit. You'd rather spend your time growing your brand than managing your manufacturer. This one's a big one. We always tell our customers, your job is to come up with great product ideas and to spend your time growing and scaling your business through marketing. Let the manufacturing component, which is a big part of it, leave that to us. We'll handle that for you. You value your proactive communication, speed, and accountability. You want products that stand out and not just blend in, and you care about long-term brand value. So if that's you, then what we'd like to do is invite you to click on the QR code here, take 60 seconds or less, and fill out an online time slot that you can work with Kennedy, myself, and James, and we'll set up time to go ahead and review your business with you. So I appreciate the opportunity to be here as always. Thank you for allowing me to share what is our passion, what we love to do, and very excited to work with you guys and see if we can help you, get your businesses even further down the road. So I'd love open up any questions, or Seth, any final thoughts you might have.
Yeah, I've got
or even if James has some, anything he'd like to add in.
Hold on, James. Let me say, I know James, you probably have something to say, but guys, I put the link for the QR code in the chat box, so you can just click directly. Like you said, there's only 12 spots. If there's been a ton of good questions. Like Melinda's been in the business for 30 years. Some people were asking can we brainstorm with Adam about positioning and things like that? Yes, that's why they're so different. Leroy says, do you guys have NSF, GMP, third-party tested, all the organic certifications? Yes, you guys can work with 100% of those cases, right? And it's if you guys are in the business of consumables, if you're in any of these things that Adam's been talking about today, you'd be crazy not to go and meet with these guys, because they're doing something that no one else is doing. And because you're in Seller Growth Network, you get to meet with them for free. They're not running out here doing consulting like this all the time. This is their business. This is what they spent. Adam, I know you changed your entire life selling consumables on Amazon, right? You've done $100 million. Just to even say that sounds crazy sometimes, right? So it's I'm sure you didn't 2013, you didn't think you know what I'm going to do one day, sell $100 million worth of products on Amazon. And that's the power of the ecosystem, and what all you've learned, and just figuring out how to make it work without this advantage, Adam, is kudos to you. But then what really lights me up about this is that you didn't stop there. You said, this is a problem. It really sucks. It hurt my own personal business by $1 million in a single year. I wonder what else is getting damaged out there, and how can I help? And you went ahead and you partnered up with James, and you started Turnkey Health and Beauty, and now you're helping these people launch their own brands and make a real difference. So I just want to say thank you for doing all this. I know it's not easy, and business is not easy, but you're really making a difference out there, Adam. I just want to say I appreciate you, man. And we got a ton of questions coming in.
I love that. I do have one thought too to share with everybody real quick, and that is, once you understand this model and you've got the right manufacturing partner, there's no such thing as printing money, but it gets pretty darn close to it. Because let me give you an example. Let's say you go into TikTok. And this is a real case study that is currently happening right now. There's, let's just say, a hair removal cream that we saw on TikTok, and it went from no sales at all to about $200,000 a month in sales. This is not our brand, by the way. This is just a product on TikTok. A customer comes to us and says, hey, listen, I see this brand's freaking killing it, and they're just scaling right now. They weren't even on Amazon. They're doing $100,000 a month on Amazon from all the spillover, a couple $100,000 on TikTok, and it's a no-name brand. Can you help me replicate that product? Right? Within about, 40 days or so, we had the manufacturers dialed in. We had all the packaging and the branding. I mean, the customer, the customer was building all that stuff in parallel. And now they've got a product that is exponentially better formulation wise, packaging and branding, getting ready to take on that other brand that has already proven, right, that there's a marketplace for this product. Does that make sense? Like, is that like kicking in? Because now it's you don't have to guess what to sell anymore. The hardest part is how do you manufacture it and make it better than the next guy, to your point what you were talking about, Seth, earlier with your product. So if you have a partner like us, it's an unfair advantage because we can make pretty much anything you guys want. So yeah, we love doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, beautiful. So I have a question for you here. Deborah says, I'm actually looking to position the business to exit. Can I brainstorm with you? So, Deborah, are you in the consumable space? I'll ask you, and then Adam, I'll let you chime in there.
I guess I'm not quite sure what I like. I don't understand the question. Like, how could I help with that?
Maybe she's in the consumable space and looking to build her business towards exit. Not sure. Deborah,
Okay.
if you can shed some light on that. Rebecca says, do you only work with oral supplements, or do you make any hypochlorous acid sprays?
Oh wow, and I love that question. That's where James jumps in. But yes, we can make anything. If we don't have a manufacturer in the network, I don't know about that particular product, but I do know we could find the manufacturer to help with that if needed.
Okay. Deborah added some clarity here. She says, exactly. I am looking to build the business of natural plant-based skincare to exit. So she's in a skincare business, Adam, and looking to build the business all the way through exit. Sounds like it might be a good fit to get you guys in place as
Okay.
a manufacturer. She's been in business for
Yeah,
15 years.
yeah. Love to talk more about it.
Yep.
Happy
So
to help.
Deborah, grab a call, grab one of those 12 slots. Melinda says, So Melinda is the one who said she's been in the business for 30 years. She's looking to start a new brand. Can you help with that? And I think your caveat would be 100% you can help. The MOQ probably is going to be around 2,500 units. If you're okay with really taking the business seriously and going in with 2,500 units at least, you can do it, right?
100%. Yep.
Yep. Beautiful. Let me scroll
Yeah, and
back.
the reason we set that market 2,500 units is because it takes a tremendous amount of time, right, to get these products to market. So anything less than that is just not financially viable for us or the manufacturer.
Melinda's going to sign up with you. Britta says, I'd love a session, but my Amazon listing has been deactivated since March 13th. It's been, she's having critical risk issues and things like that. So, Britta, you might, I don't know, Adam, what you think about this, but I don't know if you're considering launching a new product or like what your take on this is, Britta. But if you kind of qualify with all the things that Adam said and you want to be in that business, then you still might want to talk to him. Let's see. There's a bunch of questions.
Yeah, I don't know, why the product was taken down. I guess there's a scenario where if the product didn't pass NSF testing or Eurofins testing and it was taken down, or we might be able to give some suggestions on how to get it reactivated, possibly. But if it's a quality control issue, then we could remanufacture that product for you for sure and make sure that never happens again.
Yeah. Saeed says, are you able to give product ideas that are that are trending or products that are showing growing interest? I know that's kind of something that you guys do, right? You evaluate the viability of a product, don't you?
We're not in the business of like coming up with product ideas
Yeah.
for customers, right? Like that doesn't make a ton of sense. But if a customer has a product or an idea, and again they're already in business or can do the 2,500 unit minimum, then we would think through that product with you. Yes.
Awesome. Max said he grabbed a schedule or a meeting with you, Adam. Guys, if you
Awesome.
grabbed a meeting with Adam, just drop it in the chat box. I'd love to know who's actually doing this stuff. I love to see, um, who takes action. Britta says it passed NSF, so that's not the issue. It must be a different issue. Moritz says, in the past with supplements, I had the problem that the supplements didn't really solve any problem.
Mm.
They weren't prescription drugs and people bought it, but they were disappointed. So how do you manage expectations with supplements? So great question. I think you probably have something to say about that, Adam.
Yeah, I mean, you're not making claims, right? You can't say like this cures this or does that, but For instance, cognitive performance or brain health, right?
Mhm.
Those are claims, supports brain health. Those are claims you can make, and you can create formulations that are specifically designed to treat that kind of solution, right? So I don't know what you're doing in the past or what you were selling, but again, the whole training I talked about today was creating story first products that are trademark ingredient based that gives you a differentiation, and that will work.
Perfect. A couple guys had said, "Hey, I don't live in the U.S., but I want to sell in the U.S." Is that fine?
The answer is yes. They have to go through some. Are they selling anything in the U.S. currently? Or are they in the
I think one
supplement
one guy
space?
said he's operating in the U.S. already, but he's not located in the U.S. Is that okay? And then another guy said, "Hey, I'm just getting into the business. I'm located outside the U.S., but I want to get started with you, Adam." So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So 100% we can. There are a few additional steps you got to take to get your account like set up and qualified,
okay,
but we have some resources for that. You just have to
okay.
be willing to do the work.
James is asking about manufacturing patches because he sells a sleep patch with melatonin and then one without melatonin. So, what about patches?
Um, that's actually a really interesting one. I know James was working on a client that was requesting patches before, but I don't know if that project ended up going through. Um, James is texting me right now as I asked him. But let me get back to you on that one in just a second.
Okay.
No, he said actually no, not at this point. We don't have any patch capability,
Sorry, James.
unfortunately.
No,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
no sleep patches. But if you're selling other stuff that's not a patch, maybe Adam can help you in the future. Looks like Deborah grabbed a call, which is great. And then Theo said, "Can we start this even if I don't have any selling experience yet?" Theo, you can, but you gotta have the budget for the MOQ, and you need to kind of be ready to grow the thing aggressively because you don't want to buy 2,500 units of something and then not really understand what you're getting into. So it'd be like, what's your experience? How much budget do you have? And like, how seriously are you taking this? Is what I would say. What about you, Adam?
No, that's right.
Okay.
100%. I mean, you can be success. Everyone has to start somewhere, but you
Yeah.
also have to have the capabilities of doing so. The game has changed. You can't just throw a product up on Amazon and hope and pray anymore. I think in a perfect scenario, you're launching with 2,500 units of a custom formulation with us, and then you're utilizing Seth's other kind of speakers he's had in the past to launch your product on Amazon with rankings and all that other stuff. So there's a great 1-2 combo there, but you got to start with a great product first.
Well, Adam, and you even mentioned earlier on one of your slides, you said, once you say if you got 2,500 units manufactured, now you need to launch. Well, a couple weeks ago, we had Brand Expand on, and they
Mhm.
facilitate secret shopper giveaways, and that drives ranking. And so, like when you're ready to launch, we've got the strategy to take it to market, right? So it's like it's a great
Yep.
synergy there. Carrie was asking about um, she has a small startup skincare brand, and she's asking like for an average formula, what's the average price that like a skincare product could be manufactured for? I don't even know anything. Like my wife loves skincare. I don't know anything about it. So Adam, I don't know if this is even answerable. Tell me,
Unfortunately, it isn't. Skincare, I have no idea. It's like anything else. Like,
what do you want?
yeah, what are the ingredients in it? What's the quality? How many units are you ordering? Right? It's so many variables. I wish I could give you an answer, but I can't, unfortunately, in that one.
So Carrie, if it sounds like you just would need to book a call to look at exactly what you're wanting, what result you're trying to produce, like what it is, um, and then go from there. So averages I know are
Yeah,
tough.
once again, skincare does take much longer to develop products because you have to do stability testing and for all my skincare people, you guys already know, it takes some time. But if that is something you're interested in having us quote on for you, just as long as you can do the 2,500 unit minimum, and sometimes skincare could be a bit more, then we'd be happy to connect with you and see what we can do.
Okay, very good. I'm gonna drop the link back in the chat box for. I mean, I saw a bunch of people say um, that they already grabbed a call with you, but I'm going to drop the link back in the chat box one more time for everybody. If you guys are doing $50,000 a month, or don't mind the 2,500 MOQ, or you're currently in the skincare business, the supplement business, or the health and beauty business, then you got to get a call with Adam. Obviously he's a wealth of knowledge, and the technology and the system that you guys have created, where you have manufacturers competing on not only price but value, on ingredient quality, on customer service. That's incredible, Adam. You can't find that anywhere else. Melinda says most skincare that she's worked with are minimums of 5,000 and up. Um, so I don't know what you guys do. Cedric said he booked a call though. Guys, take advantage of this while you can. This is not something Adam just running around offering anywhere else. He's actually doing me a favor and giving something incredible to you guys. So I really hope you take advantage of it and jump in and do something with these guys. They're great.
Yeah, please do. We'd love to connect and hope to talk to everyone soon.
Yeah. So, guys, I know there was a bunch of questions throughout. If I missed your question, let me know now, and we'll make sure we get to it. Adam, I know you guys are launching new stuff all the time. Like, what's the thing that I know you kind of went through everything, but like, what's the synopsis of it all? Like, you launched in 2013. That's not really the same game. If you're launching in 2026, 2027, what are you thinking about? What are you going to do differently than you did so long
Yeah,
ago?
well, I mean, it just goes back to solve a problem, identify a problem, solve a problem, and you can do that a couple different ways, right? Even the TikTok example I just gave, you see brands that are somewhat niche down, and they're solving a problem. You know, hair removal. Okay, great. There's a different way of approaching it. So there are ideas everywhere. There's ways to make millions of dollars everywhere. So solve a problem first.
Yeah.
Then get with the right manufacturing partner that can actually produce that product, and try and do premium, like one premium hero ingredient, or one standout, or one call out, no matter what that is. And then you build your story right around that. So that NAD product, the whole story is built around LipoPure liposomal NAD, right? More bioavailable, easier to consume in the body. You're going to feel it, right? The results are going to be there. And that allows you then to create a premium price point, because no one else is talking about that kind of product or solving that problem in quite the same way. And then once you've got an amazing product, then you leverage the other tools that are in the network group, like Brand Expand and these other ones that, kind of get the word out there. Because it's like, if you build it, they will come, right? That old saying. You've got to have the right foundation. If you don't, then you're just wasting your time and energy. And so we can be a resource for you guys to help eliminate some of those pitfalls or gotchas that you're probably going to experience. And maybe you've had really good success up until now, but you want to grow the business. So like, what other product offerings can you put out there that would complement the products that you already have? We can help kind of think through some of those things. We're not going to build your business for you. That would be unfair, right, to assume, but we can provide a tremendous amount of insight, and we really do care about helping brand owners be successful.
Yeah. This is a marketing question. Burhan says, do you advise using Vine reviews for supplements?
Do I use Vine? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
And then Theo's trying to budget for, I think, a supplement launch. He's asking, what should I budget for my launch? Again, I think that's going to be based on what he's like, the ingredients stack, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you just take the average product, and it could fluctuate a few dollars here or there, let's say $7 to $12, I don't know, right, somewhere in that neighborhood, and you're doing 2,500 units, then you can kind of just do the quick math on what it would cost. You're probably looking at between 15 and 25,000 for inventory, and then you're going to want to build out your brand, another $5,000 for that, and then you're going to want to have your launch strategy, right, Seth? And I don't know, that could be another 5,000 to 7,000. I'm not quite sure what that is these days, but I think for around 35,000, you could have an amazing product, 2,500 units in the marketplace, and really give yourself a tremendous advantage of being successful over the competition, because there's tens of thousands of products being launched every year in this space. 99% of them are doing it the wrong way. And so if you're in that 1 percentile, you're already way ahead.
Yeah, I love that. Theo says, thank you so much for that answer. I think that kind of pointed him in the right direction. Adam, I just want to thank you and James and Kennedy for hanging out with us. Thank you for sharing and putting all this all together. I know it's a ton of work. And actually, thank you for always over delivering, giving people what they can't find anywhere else, which is access to a guy that's done $100 million plus on Amazon himself and your entire manufacturing system. What you guys can do for these guys or these brands in my community is not something that I can
Yeah.
replicate or find anywhere else. So I just really want to thank you guys for always bringing it, always giving, and being awesome, man.
Yeah, and I appreciate it. And Seth, just a side note, do you remember when you were doing some one-on-one coaching for me about
I
eight
do.
years ago? That was great.
I
So
do
I
remember
hired
that.
Seth. Yeah, I hired Seth about 8 or 9 years ago to help me with my Amazon business back in the day. So it
I
all
think we
comes full
made some
circle.
progress, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We're getting there. Appreciate it. So thanks, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you guys next week.